spat at, scorned, the biggest bitch in Britain, laugh at your humiliation. You lose your house, people laugh. Katie loses court case, Channel 4 News, everybody laughing all at once. Hopkins, don't you face right, I can't see half the fucking platoon with your nose. You know. So all I was telling was truth, and the reason they worked wasn't because I was a bitch, they worked because in people's minds they knew they thought a little bit like me. So if someone says, will you marry me? You don't have to say yes. It turns out you can say, actually, that's a shit idea.
So you've sat and read through
those. I will lock them in the car and burn the car on your watch. And I believed that the only way I could make that stop was just to end me, because by ending me it would stop them coming for them. Just too many people, very powerful people working together, and I know who they are, to have me utterly eviscerated. And amazingly, I suppose, in time, people will see that the person maybe they now love a little bit is the same person they thought they hated, and all of that was being done to me.
Information covered up, censorship, corruption. The mainstream media have proven itself to be untrustworthy. I'm here to give a platform for debate, for truth, for open discussion. I'm introducing you to my podcast, Silenced with Tommy Robinson.
Who exactly is Tommy Robinson, or Stephen Yaxley Lane?
With the English Defence League, the EDL.
The problem is with Islamic
The English far-right Islamophobic activists.
Since then, there's been organised protests across the country in London, Manchester, Leeds. People in their thousands are marching for Robinson's release.
There is no such thing in this country as a Muslim.
Free Tommy Robinson!
Katie Hopkins is an English media personality, columnist, political commentator and former businesswoman. She was contestant on the third series of The Apprentice in 2007. Following further appearances in the media, she became a columnist for the British national newspapers, including The Sun and The Mail Online. In 2015, she appeared on the 15th series of Celebrity Big Brother, finishing as runner-up, and hosted her own television talk show, If Katie Hopkins Ruled the World. The following year, Katie became a presenter for the talk radio station LBC and underwent major brain surgery to treat her epilepsy. Katie has never held back on her views, especially on UK politics, social class, migrants, COVID and race. She has faced media scrutiny, legal issues, protests and petitions. It's my pleasure to welcome this courageous woman onto my podcast and get to know the real Katie Hopkins. Welcome to my latest edition of Silence, my podcast. I'm joined with a very special guest today. Lots of people who rise up in the media rise up in activism, or in any way, end up coming under attack by the media, slandered, demonised. The lady I'm sitting with now has faced every single attack you can possibly think of, been called everything, even worse than me, I think, at times. So it's Katie Hopkins. Katie.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
I want to sit and discuss it. Many people see headlines and they think they know someone. So I don't think you get to know someone until you hear their full story. People see snippets, so I just want to hear a lot more about you.
I feel like you and I have kind of hung out with each other over many years.
Yep.
And what's been kind of fun, that might not be the right word, but there's been, because we're kind of riding this thing together in different ways at different times, doing different things, but many of the things you and I feel are very consistent. So we can feel the way the mood is going, or how our side is doing, or what's happening to certain people.
And feel the shift.
And
I felt the shift.
Yeah, and we can feel it almost at the same time, no matter where we are. So it's almost like when we're in the same place, we both kind of feel that same thing, like we've both gone sort of riding on the same ocean. So that's really nice. I really like it. And the other thing I think that makes me laugh, like today, us meeting and being in the same place, it's like if you were going to have a crosshair on one vehicle in the whole of London or elsewhere, it would be one probably with us in it.
Well,
so
I picked Katie up, said don't drive through any tunnels. We're not having a Princess Di moment.
We're having a Princess Di moment, I know. So there is that. But yeah, I feel like it's almost like the mum and the dad, right? We've been around a long time, 20 years or so of this.
And we've been hated and we've been loved.
Yes. Sometimes one more than another.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I think consistently we're hated by the same small group of people that don't matter to us in the sense that we're not out to win them over because we never can.
But more people now are coming accustomed. Would you say, do you reckon everywhere you've walked today, people have been talking to
lovely.
you?
Just lovely. Like chatting, or just chatting like they know you like a mate. And that's perfect for me.
Has it always been like that? Has that changed?
Yeah, loads has changed, I think, for both of us. But strangely enough, I think one of the things we had to get used to really early, not that I speak for you, but is being hated. And that doesn't matter if it was being hated by enemies or hated by people who probably should think you were fine. But I've had to get really used to being hated, loathed, spat at, scorned, the biggest bitch in Britain, laugh at your humiliation. You lose your house, people laugh. Katie loses court case, Channel 4 News, everybody laughing all at once at me. And also that being okay. Because people are conditioned to thinking that you're the biggest bitch. You're a monster. You are disgusting. Even if it's about children's names. Oh, I hate her. She said that stuff about kids' names. She's a right cow. She lost her house, serves her right. And you have to accept that when you're hated and bad things happen to you, or you cause them to happen, people will enjoy that humiliation. So I think what we probably have and what I got down was an ability to be hated and just to keep remembering who I knew I was and am. Yeah, it's knowing who you are, because otherwise you won't make it. No chance.
And how, these are questions I've always probably wanted to ask you, yeah? Because I know how difficult I've found it at times. So then I see you stone-faced a lot of the time, like you don't care, like this. But I always think, how are you dealing with that? Because being hated isn't nice, reading the comments isn't nice. I read in my research, as I was looking through your life, the most hated woman in Britain are the headlines. How is that?
Yes, it's hard. Yeah. I so understand that people that don't make it, and we don't even know about most people that don't make it. Most people that don't make it aren't well known. They're just ordinary mums or dads or daughters, and they can't take life anymore. And so they make a rational decision not to go on. And I think if you're a bit known, I totally understand why certain people, Caroline Flack, others don't make it.
I was about to say about Caroline Flack, and there was this big hoo-ha after Caroline Flack, and big discussions about how people are treated and the way they're treated.
Yeah.
But they continue to treat people like that.
Yeah.
We're continually.
Yeah, of course. And the thing about Caroline Flack, love her, was that she's like a bright light, that girl. She always reminded me of like some brilliant moth. Like wherever there was a light, she was in it, and she looked brilliant all the time. But that whole hashtag be kind, and you and I both know that
the people who are writing it, the people
never applied to us, and that was okay because it was meant for Caroline. But it was that people then use that hashtag to continue to go for clicks and likes whilst being disgusting, but they just add that hashtag as if it kind of admonishes them of all their sins, So I think someone like her is not a good parallel because we're hated in a different way altogether. But when you're in the eye of the storm, it is that noisy and that painful for everyone around you that you think, I have thought rationally, the only way to save my children and the only way to save lovely Mark is to walk out my front door and never ever come back. So go swing from a tree or jump. It was going to be a jump.
You've gone through those
100%. And that isn't bonkers, that's not mad, that's not delusional. I wouldn't have got in anyone's way. I wouldn't have done it under a train because they really pissed me off, quite honestly.
I'd have brought loads with me.
I was going for a bridge. It felt kind of free.
But in the serious?
Yeah.
At what moment was you having those sorts of thoughts?
Yeah.
The thoughts you're talking, I thought, are my kids better off without me?
Yes.
Are they going to have a normal life?
Yes.
Through school, through friendships, if I wasn't here? But when
2 times I can say I absolutely planned to walk out the door, and that was that. No, and that wasn't a problem necessarily. The first time was when you lose the normal stuff, jobs, all of that. It was when they came for the children, but specifically, so people would call social services on the children and say that they were concerned for their welfare, that I was abusive. They'd seen marks on the children, or they'd heard stories, or they thought they'd heard from someone that I was abusing the kids. And so we had social services. I remember exactly where I was, what I was wearing on the street in London when I got the call to say, we're coming to investigate the children and we need to interview them on their own in their bedrooms. And that happened a few times. And I believed that the only way I could make that stop was just to end me, because by ending me, it would stop them coming for them. And so actually what happened, we changed all the children's names. None of the children have my name. None of the children have each other's names. And bear in mind, this was when they were little, 5 years ago, smaller, much smaller. Yeah. And then I've never ever been to any of their schools, not one day in any of their lives. And I make it so that any communication with anything to do with the kids comes via a different surname. So I am totally, the link between me and the children is gone in any other way.
God, you are me. You're the female, you're living the same way I live, totally. In the sense of going to the schools, don't go to the schools. But how as a mother, I'm a father, so how as a mother, how was that to deal with it?
It's the worst thing.
How do your kids find that? How do you worry about, did you worry? Do you still worry now? Do you worry about resentment from your children? If it's affected their lives, do you worry that, has it affected their lives?
Yeah, not in the way people think.
No.
So when people will say unkind stuff, so they say, oh, imagine those poor kids, imagine having that as a mother. Or I get it, just last week you deserve to have your kids taken from you. You're a disgusting thing. Imagine those poor kids, imagine. And what people imagine, even if I'm hated by them, I fully accept it. But the idea that my kids don't know who I am, that's what they're missing. And of course, I wake up, so like this morning, face like a slapped arse, still is, in my gym jams. I'm sorting things out because we've got a painter coming. I'm cleaning a toilet. I'm getting a child to put their toothbrush on the bloody charger because they don't put their toothbrush on the charger because they're morons and their teeth will fall out. And I'm that mother. I'm the one, do you want a crumpet or not? Put a crumpet on, forget I've put it on, burn the kitchen down. I'm her. Yeah. That's all I am. But to these outsiders, when they think, oh, Katie's kids must hate her because I hate her. And of course, as a mother, I'm none of those things. I'm just this anyway. So there's that, but there's also, there was a time my son, and I think he still has it. So I would go, if ever we went out, I would always go in last. I'll go in behind the biggest person. I'll stay out the way, and then when let's say we go to sit down, we'd always pick somewhere out the way to sit down, and then I'd always face the wall. And that's not in our nature. We like to face out because we like to know where the exits are, right?
My back's always to the wall, so I can
that
see
my
the
children,
door.
Whereas mine would be to face the wall because I know that
people don't see you.
So that no one would see me, so no one would associate the children with me, and that's always there. Every moment of every minute, I know if I'm with my kids, I'm on defence mode. Still, even when everyone's so lovely, because there's been a day when my son didn't get off the school bus.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
So where we moved to try and get the kids out the way, it's not a home that I live in, it's not a home that my name's on. I struggle, I'm doing a prison visit tomorrow, I struggle to prove where I live because my name...
You are me! I struggle with everything. So I've got one name here, I don't have anything registered address. Bang! It's like, I know the
thing. They say, we need 2 forms of address with your name on. I'm like, are you joking me?
So when did you...
So we moved out the way, and I'm not there.
What year was this?
4 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And then a little village school, and my son under a different name, and me never being there. But one day, so he gets the school bus, which we're always pursuing normal, right? We want normal. We're trying to get to normal, and then one day never got off the bus, and for most people that would be weird, or you'd be like, oh, check his mates, but for me, it's straight to. Someone's got him, and that's still absolutely there all the time now. So my 2 daughters went out yesterday into town together, and they weren't back at a normal time. And my first instinct is someone's got them. I don't think.
Have you had threats against your family?
Yeah, loads.
So you've sat and read through
those. I will lock them in the car and burn the car, and you'll watch all of them. And people could say, maybe people watching would say, oh, you should report them, but that's not how it works for us.
They don't do anything anyway. I've reported hundreds. I've given them hundreds. I've actually told them who they are.
Yeah, so we know that that's not for us. That's not an option.
No.
And
do you think your children have read them? Do you think your children? Have you ever say to your children? Have you ever had to have these conversations? Look, people don't like your mum.
No, not those conversations. I think they're made. I believe school friends do a really good job of letting your kids know what's going on. But I've always, since they were little, since the noise was coming, 10, it was so long,
yeah, you've been
10
in the
years
middle
ago, 15 years ago. So even when they were little, it'd be, what happens if you're in trouble? What happens if you're in trouble? You ring mum. What will mum do? Mum will fix it. And they all of them now, the three of them, if we sat them here and you said, right, Indy, what do you do if you're in trouble? Ring mum. What will mum do? Fix it. They could repeat that. And where will mum be? In my pocket. Will mum ever leave me? No. So it's all things I've drilled into them so that if ever I did get, that end comes for either of us at some point, if it came, they would always know I was in their pocket and I'll never leave them. That's when I thought it would be more likely I wouldn't make it this far. And then also, if you're in trouble, you ring mum. Mum will fix it. And those sound like general things a normal mum might tell their kids, but for me, it's more than that.
You're saying with a vision of what might happen?
Yeah, that I won't be there because I'll be got. Or something much darker would happen, someone would take them, and that they would know that I must ring, if I can't get mum, I'll ring someone. Yeah. This was when they were little.
Little kids, yeah.
And now, obviously, we're much, got 3 teenagers. So, and our house is a really, I'm super happy. We're really lucky to have 3 solid kids, all completely different, all cracking on with life, and all we get on because they've always stayed loyal to who I am.
Who they know you are.
Who I am.
Who they know you are.
Who I've ever...
Person with every day.
I could be really annoying, I can be a lunatic, I can be unreliable, I wasn't always the best at being never made a fruit kebab in my life, let me tell you that. The fruit snack was often the sultana at the back of the cupboard because, Miss Dudar can screw off the Nazi teachers with their fucking fruit snacks, excuse my language. I haven't been much good at that stuff, but I've been pretty good at being around in terms of solid for the kids. Yeah. So, and that's with, for 5 years, more or less, I left the country just on the road in America to give them a chance to move from being little to being a bit bigger and take the threat away.
That's for the last 5 years?
Yeah, I've been back here for the last sort of 3-4 years now because we felt the tide change to give the shift in the plates that we walk on.
There was a time, because it was bad at times, so at those times you went to America on your own?
On my own, we're just with one bag.
You left the kids at home with your husband? Left
it in a house that I have no part of, I own nothing. I have no money involved in anything. They can't take that house because it doesn't have me on it. I own nothing.
I want to get onto that. That's because they took everything.
Yeah, but also I own nothing, so that one of the reasons, as you know, people will continue to come for you is if they believe you have something.
Yeah.
And one of the ways you can protect people from you is to relinquish everything. So for 5 years, pretty much solid, I took off with a bag and just was a nomad on the road in America, going around trying to do what we do, lift our side up, remind them that there's 20 million decent Brits that are right with them, bring
Trump election,
bring what we do, really working hard.
Yeah.
But mostly protecting also the family, and because I wasn't allowed to eat, breathe, sleep, be alive, be anything in my own country.
So you're made a refugee of your own country?
Yeah, without the status.
Yeah, without the benefits,
the free
the free hotel.
Without
the free hotel.
Without the 4-star hotel, I know. Yeah, so it was basically being...
Jesus, it's the same again, because 3 years ago I packed off and went to Spain.
Yeah, I went just ahead of you, and then you I think, and I, both see our lives now as we're just really following where we know we need to be to help decent people feel better. But then when we're done with that particular job, we lift up and we remove ourselves for a bit because we can't really exist in our own country, not in a normal way. Tell
me then, because this is when you're out in America, when you went to America, Where did you want to be?
I want to be at home. I want to be with my children, helping lay out their school uniform on a Monday morning, make sure the washing got done, do the ironing, make sure the stuff is comfy, put the little lights on that I like to put on around the house because it makes it feel cosy and I really like it. I like to walk my dogs. I like to go for a run. I like to do my radio show because that was the most lovely thing I could. People would speak to me from their kitchen, set me off any day this will. LBC radio, people talking to you from their kitchens in their gym jams, telling you their whole heart. It's why it was magic. You know, I'd like to do that job. I'd like to do my job in the newspaper, writing ordinary people's stories from sitting and standing with them, not sit in some studio cribbing off what someone else said, but being there. You know, the difficult stuff. That's what I miss, all of that. Normal, what would be considered normal, hard-working, sort of decent-ish person, life with plenty of flaws. But I wouldn't be allowed to do it. Just too many people, very powerful people working together, and I know who they are, to have me utterly eviscerated. In a way, when you're removed from your homeland, so you, Spain, me, on the road in America, it isn't prison. And believe me, America, Spain, no disrespect to those countries, they're amazing, amazing people, right?
But you still feel trapped.
But you're not free.
Yeah.
Freedom is many things, but not being able to exist in your own land, that is a form of imprisonment in itself. Yeah.
I tried to rent. I couldn't rent a house anywhere. I couldn't get one. So when they thought they went to my ex-wife now's house, live streamed her address, they had to sell the house. That's when we split up. Then I had to leave, and I couldn't get anywhere to live in England. I could not find a house that would give me, Tommy Robinson. If I was a landlord, I wouldn't give me a house. I think one of my mates said, who's a developer, he goes, "You're going to devalue my house. If you move into the house, you're going to devalue the house. I'm going to sell the house. It's Tommy Robinson's house." So I had all those dramas, and then that's what I done. I went to Spain. But then when I was in Spain, I think, I just want to be at home. Everyone's like, "I must be great out there." I'm thinking, no, I just want to be at home. I'm going like this.
Yeah. It's also a strange idea that you're effectively an outlaw, you know, in your own country. When you actually, you know, the thing is, if we speak out against Britain, some people will say to me, "Oh, you're ex-military and you put the country down." And I'm always very clear, I'm so proud of my country, is why the fight is on, and always has been. But it's hard to be thrown out from your own country.
Or be hated by it.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we rewind then? Let's rewind, because I want to go through, because this isn't just about censoring people or slandering them. What they want to do is destroy them.
Yeah.
They're not happy until that figure who's rose up is destroyed. Doesn't matter who it is. Might be you, might be me, might be Andrew Tate, might be anyone. Yeah, they're going to finish them.
Well, it does matter in a way, because it's one of the ordinary people, one of the little people.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to rise up. If you're one of them, you're allowed to, just take the example of Douglas Murray, doing a splendid job, speaking out boldly, hugely intelligent. He is accepted as one of them. He went to the same boarding schools that they went to. He's from the same money. He's from Oxford. He's accepted as one of, so he can get away with a lot more because he's one of them. It's okay. But when it's one of these little people, us, a Woolworths checkout chick, and I don't know your background, mine was many others, hooligan. McDonald's, football hooligan, Tate, whatever. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to. So when you reach a position of influence and you've got a radio show and you've got the most listened to, the most read column, you're on Fox News twice a week, you've got Trump retweeting you, that is not permitted. That is not permitted.
Because they can't have any control over it?
Yeah, and that's why, well, and also you're just, how dare you? You're not even from the ranks of this club. You didn't even get a door pass. And then you feel, and you and I have had for a very long time, and we felt it yanked in on a number of occasions, that fishing trawler net is put around you, wide, 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 around your life, around your jobs, around your kids, around anything you ever touched or anyone that's ever helped you. And when they decide to pull it, they pull it. And there's a bunch of hands on that. And they're heads of churches, heads of synagogues, they are Brandon Cox, Save the Children, they are the chief rabbi, they are the leader of political parties, Board of Deputies, 30 signatures, Muslim Council, 40 signatures, all ready to go. and they yank it. And the idea is it's that same rope that is your rope round your neck.
I relate so much to it. Can we rewind then, Katie, to understand you've gone through it, you've gone through a lot, I want to go through lots more. But what made you the character you were? Where was you brought up?
Ordinary plain Devon.
In Devon?
Yeah, the way out the way of nowhere land, where families multiply amongst themselves, people have 6 toes. No one goes there.
3 surnames.
It's basically like Wales, but in Devon. No, so Biddyford, a tiny, tiny little, funnily enough, it's called the White Town. And I was like, oh, Jesus, don't tell anyone where I'm from. And I was the Saturday girl in the cake shop. You know, it was brilliant because it was in the middle of town, so you get all the gossip. 14 years old, everyone was coming in, you know, to get the gossip the night before. We go out in the town, know everybody. Little local club, you know, where everyone knew everyone. It was super fun.
Near the beach?
Normal, huh?
Near the beach?
Yes, Westwood Ho is like the known surfing beach.
Okay.
So proper convent school, sensible upbringing, normal mum and dad, calm, peaceful, quiet, shy, never bothered anyone, did what they were told. Father, same job, all his life, nuns, authority, rules, regulations.
What happened? They must be thinking, what the hell happened here?
Right. keep screwing that nut down. And like
Was you only child?
No, I got a sister, and so even like we had to wear kilts as our uniform, dreadful green things.
Was that a private school?
Private school,
Okay.
and mum's mum went. It was like, you know, back in the day where you believed, like, if you worked hard and you sent your kid to a private school, maybe they might do a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my dad came from council and, you know, ordinary boy, and no dad around because his dad died. But, you know, you believe, like,
Work hard, get 'em in
work
private
damn,
school.
like, mum and dad didn't have, you know, we didn't have carpets in our house for a while because we got the house, but they couldn't get the carpets. It's not like bleeding heart. I'm not trying to be Sadiq Khan.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
father was a bus driver. Bloody terrorist lawyer. But anywho, but what I'm saying is, I went to private school, so this kilt had to be stitched up down the seam so we didn't flash a leg. I mean, Jesus Christ. So that, and then I broke out of there at 16. I was like, right, but off to the big college.
Was it boarding school? Did you live there?
No,
So
I
you
lived
still
at home,
home?
went home. Tea was on the table at 5.
Okay.
No
Every
messing,
day.
every day. Dad would come home,
Dinner
5
ready.
to 5, dinner ready. Sit at the table, get your elbows off the table, eat with a knife and fork, don't get down until you're finished. Old school.
Old school.
Go upstairs, do your homework. Old school. Rules, man. Rules. And then at 16, I was like, I'm off to a big college, 2000, technical college, you know, builders, labourers, all the proper
Whereabouts?
trades.
Whereabouts?
Barnstable, just up the road.
Okay.
Don't like to go too far
Okay,
when we're
yeah.
born in Devon, thank
Yeah,
you. And so, you know, massive place, 2,000 people. But after a year of being at college, I was like, there
What
must be
was you
more.
doing at college?
Oh, just a bunch of A-levels.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, the kid that everything was easy for. Like, I got straight A's at GCSE, got my grade 8 this, grade 8 piano, grade 8 violin, with sports teams. Like, everything was fast and easy, but it just was, not being a smug, you know it all. Got to college, did a year, and I was like, I need to. So I went off to Australia for a year at 17.
Who with?
So there was this thing in the college newsletter, and it was like, we're looking for Rotary ambassadors, scholars, to go and improve relations with Australia. And I thought, I am that woman.
I'll improve the relationship.
And boy, oh boy, did I.
Well, later on you did
A
it
lot
all.
of surfers. A lot of surfers in Australia and me got on just fine, thank you. So went over there for a year, lived there. So by the time I came back at 18, you know,
Why did you come back?
Because it was a year's programme. I was
Okay.
supposed to come back, supposed to finish your A-levels. I don't know
Okay.
what you're going to do, right? So I came back to do A-levels, but then everything was small. Like, people were younger because I'd been away for a year. And so the next thing was, went off to uni, got sponsored through there by the military, and I was like, that's it, I'll go into the military. That's
How'd
hard.
you get sponsored? Is
By
it
doing-
because you had exceptional grades? Because
I was a bit of an arsehole with grades, and like I'd done all this, you know, no Rotary ambassador scholar, even though I'd been over in Australia basically banging surfers for 12 months, but it sounded good on paper. And also I'm a good blagger, you know, I can write a good CV, as we've learned for The Apprentice. So, you know, during the
how many
testing...
surfers did you bang?
Oh, quite a few. It's been long. It's like a farmer's hand down there, Tommy. You don't want to be anywhere near that, honestly. You could put a nail gun through that thing, I'm not going to feel it. I really like being my age, it's excellent. Do you know when people say I've only ever slept with one person? And I think, you poor bastard. So, military, I did selection, and of course I did, pretty good at that. I could run, and I was pretty smart. So I got sponsored by the intelligence corps through uni. Got bored at uni.
What does that mean, the intelligence corps? What does that mean?
Just go and you do all the kind of
Army
strategic army intel, strategic planning, psyops, that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff that you realise when they're using it back on us right about now.
Yeah. False flags and that.
Yeah. Didn't see COVID coming.
You'd have been
It's like
planning
it was written by a primary
been
school
planning it.
child. So, yeah.
Sandhurst, right?
Sandhurst, yeah. So, what's hard? It was kind of looking for hard, right? What's hard?
Sandhurst is the most prestigious
Military academy on the planet.
on the planet.
So what's hard, right? What's difficult? Trying to find something hard.
Something that you struggled with.
Something that's, because everything's easy. People are kind of slow. It's not that hard. Work out what a teacher wants, give it to them. I don't care about this homework, but I know what you want. I know what, I know how to blow you on paper. Watch me blow you. That's all I've ever done, really. That's how, that's how you end up on The Apprentice. What do they want? Oh, they want this. Give them that. Oh, look at me, selected. So went to the Royal Military Academy and passed through, thank God, passed through the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst before they figured out that it looked like I was epileptic.
How many years was that?
Oh, only
How many years did you do that?
Yeah, year. I just have to do a year at the academy.
Oh, okay.
3 terms, and they pulverise you for every single one of them in different painful ways.
Like what?
Carry this log around there with nothing on your shoulders. Wait
Okay.
till the skin falls off your feet. You did that wrong? Okay, so we're going to punish her. Just epic level meanness. It was brilliant. Yeah. Him over there, one of the floppies, nickname for Saudi princes, he didn't do what he should do. Hopkins, you're over there running that for 20 minutes. Just kind of the beast level, but in an exceptionally brilliant British way. Like the way they would rip the shit out of you across a parade square. You're standing there and you're one of only 30 girls, 120 guys, big guys, some of them, Like Hopkins, you could eat an apple through a fucking tennis racket with those fucking gnashers. Stop smiling at me. That, proper...
But you couldn't say that now?
Couldn't say it now.
You couldn't say any of that now?
No. Hopkins, don't you face right. I can't see half the fucking platoon with your nose. Pretty funny. 6'6" Welsh dude just yelling that at you. It does really good things.
It does really good things.
It's quite hot, actually.
Now people get mental health treatment for that.
Yeah, whereas back then it's like, whoa, go on, beast me. And there was lots of times it wasn't, the academy isn't for everybody, and I get it. Like, we started off as 30 girls in just as only one girls platoon, and we came out as 7.
Oh, wow, at the end there was only 7 left.
Yeah, the rest
So
of
all the people didn't really like
broken
it.
shit, broken backs, broken arms.
Broken dignity.
Broken dignity, yeah. Yeah, if you were an Oompa Loompa, you weren't making it. I tell
Good, you shouldn't be able to either.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that, that's the lesson
best, the
for
best.
me. Here's the bar, can you jump it? You can't. Well, I don't give a shit that you're 2 foot
Now they
3,
lower the
fuck
bar.
off.
Now they lower the bar.
Oh, sorry, you're a short person. Oh, sorry, you've got problems with your heels. Oh, sorry, you're trans. Oh, now the bar is this low. No. This is the bar. If you can't do it, it's not okay. Might be not your fault, but still, F off. Sandhurst, good.
You talk about epilepsy. When did you know you had epilepsy?
So Sandhurst was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
Epilepsy starting around 18.
Wow.
Didn't
I
even
thought you
know.
were just born with it, no?
Yeah, most people.
What brought that on then?
Yeah, don't know. Some people get knocked on the head. Some people get
Maybe it
dropped
was on
on
the
the head.
surface.
Too much banging against the bedpost. No, you've just got that in your head now. Move it out your head. Move it out your head. You're an old lady. So my mother always says it was that bungee jump. It was that bungee jump. She relies on it being a bungee jump. It wasn't a bungee jump. You know what? I think
you just all of a sudden had an epileptic fit?
Yeah, so there's just a bit of my brain that was, I think you just get born with weird bits, right? I've got a lot of weird bits. And there was just a bit of my brain that did not grow correctly, which I also think maybe have a lot to do with why I think I can think fast and all that. I think my brain is odd, obviously, but it just started firing weirdly at about 18, and it would start with these and what I had at Sandhurst was just, so I'd be talking to you like, this, and I would just carry on, and you'd be like,
Fucking
what
man.
the fuck? And you'd go,
Joe Biden.
you'd be like, you're right. Like, if you cared about me, you'd go, you're right. And I'd go, oh, yes, sorry, miles away. And I would cover it like that. But in fact, your world just goes blank, completely blank.
Can't drive then? You
So,
still can't drive?
I've spent 42 years not driving.
Yeah, because you can't drive with epilepsy.
Yeah.
So for those
Well,
first
after I
couple
passed
of
my test, so I guess 38 now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, haven't driven for years. I drive now. But even after I got my licence back, actually, someone reported me to the police for driving, and they said that they saw me have a seizure. And so they took the licence again.
Oh my God.
And this was after my surgery, when I don't have seizures anymore.
So
doesn't matter.
you're doing Sandhurst. Are you then, is your life directed there? You think military, this is where I'm going?
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
35 years I signed.
You signed up for 35 years?
Yeah.
And then,
Gone. So there were suspicions, because I had a couple of these blackout, but you're still stood up, but
it went proper.
They clocked it. And so they sent me for tests, all the rest of it, and that's when they diagnosed epilepsy. And so, boom, straight out. And I did I wrote to the general. I ran the 800 metres faster than anyone else had run it at the academy. I was a member of the athletics team. I got the award for the essay. I thought if I outperformed
do everything and prove I can still do it. And how was that to swallow?
No, I haven't yet.
Still not? Think of where your life might have gone. Would have been a totally different life.
Yes, but...
Do you know, I draw parallels again, because I was an aircraft engineer, and then I went to jail. My life changed.
Yeah.
At the same age.
Yeah.
Total different direction.
Yeah.
But so you've come out of there at 18.
Back at my parents' house.
Back home.
So I signed a piece of paper, and I told them at my interview, I'll be your first female general. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I will just love the army, and I will be the first female general you've had. And they were like, in. Because they don't give those 35 years out anymore. And back then...
No, they saw your IQ, your intelligence,
let me go.
Everything.
I think it was actually my very good looks.
Okay.
Told me that you seem to have wafted
Forgotten.
past there. So I was back at mum and dad's house. No job. Epilepsy.
Wow. Then what? What are you thinking now? What are you thinking for them?
Just got to get out of mum and dad's house, because they still didn't turn the heating on. Never have.
Did you party? Did you drink at these ages? Was you a drinker?
Oh, no, I mean, at 14, I was out clubbing. It's why I really encourage my kids to be out, be naughty, like to young people. It's always, turn your phone, don't film, just be naughty. Whatever it is you've got to do that's naughty, do it, but do not film it. Do the naughty. Right, I did plenty of naughty, and I looked like I never did a naughty. Just when people hated me, they thought I was this stuck-up conservative twat. Whereas, I'd done plenty of naughty, so I had a secret that was good. But, so I was back home, and then there was this guy running this kind of business, small business, where they were using military skills and putting them in business. But he only wanted to work with ex-military, and he only worked with Marines, ex-Marines. And he said, yeah, go on then. So he took me on, and I was like, I was the anything girl. I would do anything for any of them to make this work. Like, carry kit, do whatever. Still, I am that person now. And then I flew in there. Yeah, I went up amongst them really quickly. They got bought out by a bigger consultancy firm, and they put me straight up at the, top of the company pretty much straight away. I was very lucky that within about 5 years, I was high up in a consultancy working in Manhattan.
Oh, you went to America?
Yeah, they sent me over there to open up a new office, and I was over there living in Manhattan at board level. It should never have happened.
At 23?
Yeah, living a fine life.
Can I ask at that age, did you have any political aspirations, any political opinions?
Still.
Was you political at all?
No, just military.
Just that's all your focus was?
Military, beasting, 5 a.m, working with the boys. If we were on a job, we'd all be up at 5, all in the gym till 7, work, play hard. It was all, I was basically a guy, It's why people wonder about me, They wonder, am I, and often wonder, one of the piss tastes is that I'm trans, but I think that happens a lot with strong birds, But also ones that look like me, and also have my attitude, which is male. So for that period, and right up till like 28, I was proper manning it up in Manhattan. It was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it. It was perfect. And I was like, I would put on almost like fancy dress of what powerful, like, corporate ladies should look like. Like, I'd put on heels and I'd put on a skirt and a blouse and I'd be like, here I am, take me seriously. But in my head, I'm this goon. But like, I play the role almost of, I'm a consultant and I'm going to tell you what.
You play that role to benefit yourself?
To benefit, it's my job now.
Yeah.
I'm a consultant. Here I am, consulting. Yeah. I mean, and I was installing the principles of the business. I was doing a good job. But in my head, I'd be like, who are you kidding, bird?
Yeah, I'm doing it well.
Yeah. Then I married the boss of the whole firm.
Okay. Is that your first husband? What age did you marry him? Was he American?
Marine.
He was a Royal Marine? Okay.
Older.
How older?
So I was 26, he's 45.
Oh, you fucked up.
And he's kind of me as well.
He what? He was like you?
It's the same. Walks in a room, people know, focus of attention.
He was
Smart.
44, you was 26?
Yeah. He ran away to Manhattan to live with me.
How long did that last, the marriage?
It was brilliant. No, so being Mrs. Boss and...
did that affect how the other people viewed you?
So I'd let down my military mates because...
You don't do that?
You don't do that.
Yeah, but they're not mate, they're not a bird.
Yeah,
right?
But you don't do that. You don't disrupt the order of things. It was, that.
Yeah, but I bet if one of the lads, if the boss was a woman, one of the lads ended up riding the woman, they'd all be like, hey, you got the boss,
they were
you got
very
the boss.
good. They were very, you know what though, the discipline's still there, but they changed my relationship with the guys I work with, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Affected it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they couldn't trust me anymore as one of them because I was also the boss.
Because you're
you
like
can't.
that's glass.
Yeah.
View does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I lost that, which that's okay. And then we had 4 years, brilliant, but just my advice, if there's women watching this, or younger ladies, is just because someone asks you a question, you don't have to say yes. So if someone says, will you marry me? You don't have to say yes. It turns out you can say, actually, that's a shit idea, which is what I should have done. But we got married 1 year.
After 1 year?
Oh, actually, no. We were together for 4 years. We got married. My girlfriend said we give it a year and 8 months.
It lasts 8 months?
Bitches.
The marriage lasts 8 months? No way.
It's not funny, is it? It's not
Fucking
funny.
hell.
Because
where did you get married?
UK.
Oh, you come back to the UK?
Yes, because I already had, at this point, a first child, 6 months old.
With?
This guy.
The Royal Marine?
Yeah.
Who was 44?
And then 2 things happened. One, I was still in male mode, I think. If you're going to have children, I didn't imagine I'd be having children at 26, but I was pregnant with Indy. Women really annoy me when they say that, like, I just don't know, I'm pregnant, I don't even know how. Well, yeah, I do, love. So I was pregnant, had a first child, got married because I thought that's what you do. Mum and Dad brought me up, you need a mum and dad, get married to the father, right? Yeah. Then I had another baby straight away because I thought 2 children together, get back to work. So I had 2 children under the age of 2.
And you were single, and you split up then?
And Damien left me to, he ran off with the secretary.
A fucking Damo. Damo. He's just fucking... I'm sorry. He's 44, he's took the 26-year-old. He's done that, he's got the sick day.
He's quite a lad, to be fair.
My fist bump the music. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, mate, how old was the secretary?
No, she was hot. And she had really good tits.
I'm should be laughing because
You should.
if you're
You
20,
should.
well, you must have felt as a mother of two, what, you're abandoned with two kids. Where are you in
No,
America?
there's a whole few things here.
Okay.
So we're back in the UK, and I've got 2 children under the age of 2. This gets better. You haven't even heard it yet.
Oh.
You don't even know the funny bit. So I had Indy 6 months to get married because that's the right thing to do. Remember, I have the next baby, Poppy, and I go into he drives me to the labour ward to have Poppy, and that night he was gone for a while, and the next morning I woke up next to Poppy. I had Poppy in the night. He left that day.
Oh, fuck off, bruv.
Yeah. So I
You
had
get birth and he left.
yeah, that morning.
You
And someone
rat
else
damo.
saw him on his phone outside, and they knew when they saw him that phone. You know when you know when someone's on a phone and it's not a right call.
Did you see that coming?
I think I.
Yous
think-
were clashing?
Do you know?
Was you-
No, not that. Just there was a lot of days here, there, not right.
Oh, well, he wasn't
walking in a
about-
room and things weren't. But I think I needed because I was pregnant. I needed everything to be all right. Do you know what I mean? I could
You
feel
tolerate.
myself like almost like lifting up the bed mattress thing balance and kind of don't mention it. That's what I did to myself. Someone that's known for facing everything
And being
head
strong.
on, mess around with our Indian diaspora, watch me come at you, right? That bird is the bird going, oh, where was he that night? Well, that phone call? Oh, let's not. So I hid it from myself, and then he left me the next day,
Well, he left you and he left the 2 kids.
and I got a taxi home from the maternity ward, and then I had 2 children under the age of 2, and I'm a single mum,
In where? Where are you at this time?
still in Devon. Bear in mind, I've gone off,
Yeah, you've been around.
but like a salmon, you come home, sorry. Before we all get carried away, Katie, when I took him from his family to marry
so
me,
so when he went off with the 26-year-old, he already had a missus, a
and
wife,
3 children.
and 3 children.
So,
Damo.
well, no. So what goes round comes round.
Okay, so karma's come. You've broke that family.
See what I mean?
How old were his kids at that time?
Teenagers.
Did he keep
But
in
that's
contact with them?
No, not at all. 4 years. They thought he was dead for the first 2.
Oh, he's a rat. But would you not have seen he's a rat at that point?
Right. So, but this isn't really about that. This is about how you have to be really honest with yourself. Before you go and have a big old cry about what happened to you, you always have to, and I suspect you and I are pretty good at this, is looking at yourself and saying, what did I do that made this happen? And that's 100%. What did I do? Well, I did it. Karma comes round. And I thought I could make things right by marrying Damien so that my girls had a dad. But actually, that was very much the wrong thing to do.
And has he played a part in your kid's life?
No, never ever saw each other one day.
Oh, he's off his head.
I don't know about that. I think that's I don't know about that. I found, honestly, that it's very nice to not have to share, and I wouldn't be very good at sharing.
Your kids with him.
Not if we weren't together. Like together,
Yeah.
we're a team, and I'm all in. Like I will never speak a bad word against you. I
What age
will
was you when this
support you.
happened? 28.
28.
28, 2 kids,
On
single
my own.
mum.
And my job linked to the guy who ran off with the secretary.
So the job's gone as well. Wow, so if you look at where you went from the age of 28 as a single mum, which we're going to get onto, you fucking went like this.
I don't know. But I
Oh,
mean,
like
but
this.
it was right. I think of my life more like, what are those machines called that used to be in pubs, and you would pull a thing and the ball would go, and it would bing, 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 bing,
Ping
bing,
pong,
bing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how I guess a bit it looks my life sometimes. But what I think about for any women who are single mums or dads who are single dads, the really great thing is that you are everything at that point. And so I remember thinking, once I picked myself up off the floor, like, right, now, I am everything for these 2. And I remember looking at them, like, you will not need for something, you'll never know, you weren't left, I was. I will make this okay, I will provide, I will work, I will. And it was just like this moment. And I had a list of things I could get rid of that were his, that needed clearing up, sort my name out on everything. And all of a sudden I became like this It was like an Incredible Hulk thing where you go, no one will ever do that to my family again. And knowing that a lot of it was my fault, you know.
When you say your fault, do you mind if I ask, he was unfaithful to you, clearly, with the secretary. Was you unfaithful to him?
No.
So you were a loyal wife?
Oh, yes.
Loyal partner?
But we can't forget that I was the one that stole him. That's my point about...
He wasn't just loyal to him.
But no. If you say you'll do something, you do it.
Okay.
If you marry someone, you marry them.
What happens then? 28, 2 kids?
28, 2
You're
kids.
in Hulk mode?
Really lonely, I remember. This is not a good admission. I remember getting in the car and driving the 2 girls to go to Tesco's because I just knew I needed to be around some people. Because when you have a 1 and a bit year old and a 6-month-old, there's not many places you can go, really, because on your own, you can't go out because you can't really go to people's houses because I was kind of keeping myself to myself. And
was you depressed?
I don't know about depressed, I remember being really lonely and not really knowing. I kept going to work because I was determined not to, I just kept turning up to work at my desk.
Was he there?
Wasn't in that same building, but it's his business.
It was his business.
But I just kept turning up to work because I needed to show that I could still function even though I wasn't functioning. I was at work, but not in life. And so I kept pretending I would be all right until I was. And then one day I was like, okay, now this stops. And I thought, I'll change this up. I'm going to change direction. I'm going to hand in my notice now, because I'd done that bit of...
So you still carried on working for his business? How long for?
That 6 months.
Did he talk to you in those 6 months?
No.
He just didn't talk to you?
No. But I had to, and the secretary, and all the staff who then were allied with him, because he paid their wages. So I just had to almost push myself, like, if there's broken glass and you decide, I've got to push myself onto this to really hurt, it's like that. It's like I will hurt myself and show that I will endure hard.
Been there.
So that's what that was, like a self-harm, hurt myself until it's so hard. So one day I remember sitting in the garden and it was sunny and I had the girls there and it was in my little garden and everything was getting organised, and I thought, right, that's it now. Enough hurting myself. I will change this up. And as I was on my little, whatever I was on, applications for the UK apprentice.
Is that when this is at that time?
Yeah. And I had watched The Apprentice in Manhattan with Donald Trump. And it was a great process. Manhattan, I love Manhattan. Donald Trump, what a guy. And if you got the job at the end, you got to be the project manager of building a skyscraper on the, on the Manhattan skyline. So I came back to the UK, saw the application, and I was like, I'll apply. And I'm pretty good at applying for things, as we've discussed. And I thought, there you go, that'll be me. And then I turned up for filming, and it was frigging Lord Sugar, who's this big, in Brentwood, and there's no real job at the end of it. But the point was, by applying, I knew what they'd want. They'd want this person that I almost had created in Manhattan, this, here I am, corporate Katie in my white suit. Look at me with my slightly plummy posh accent that thinks she's so clever, with my frigging blue eyeshadow. And then, we would have the pieces to camera and they'd say, well, what do you think of, Tommy's business skills? And I'd be like, well, that Tommy, he needs to look in the mirror every now and then and realise he's pretty shit at what he does. He smells like shit, and like all good shit, he just needs to be put in the bin. Right, so I could just pull those out of nowhere. And I thought everybody was doing that. I thought all the other contestants were speaking honestly about the other contestants, but no one else was. It was just me.
So how did you come across them?
Like a right twat.
Like a right twat.
The biggest bitch in Britain.
That's how. So that's where it comes from.
That's where it came from.
So
Two
that was
pages of the Daily Mail.
Because you were brutally honest about people.
I mean, I find my candor funny. Not many people saw the joke. Some people did, and they've loved me since then, and they always got it. But it was brutal. What I would be. I mean, I would never. It wasn't personal. Well, yeah.
Did you intentionally? Did you think beforehand that it was a gameplay?
No.
No, you just thought.
No, I was just doing corporate Katie, and in the bits to camera, look, the team behind the camera, they would be laughing away. You know, lots of nodding people with clipboards, because I didn't know I was being comedy camera gold. I thought everybody had this much time. It was all me. By the time I was kept in till the end because I was that, I thought I was just doing really well in the competition. And when I came out, I was the biggest bitch in Britain.
How long was it? How long was it?
Rough.
How long was it?
Like back in the day when they used to make it properly, it used to be like a proper kind of show. It took about 3 months. We were locked in one house.
Wow.
No phone, no money, chaperone 24/7, chaperone outside the toilet, sleep in the house.
So you couldn't speak to people on the outside?
Brought food.
Okay.
Very prison-controlled environment, but not to your prison state. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Super controlled.
What was Alan Sugar like?
Short.
Shorter than me?
Shorter than you.
Fucking hell, Alan.
Incredibly short.
Really?
Unbelievably short. And then obviously 2 children at home, and I'm not allowed to ring them.
Oh my God, for 3 months?
Mum and Dad, yeah. Mum and Dad stepped in. And then, at the end, you get told, Hopkins, you're in the final. Hopkins.
But you're completely unaware of the hysteria going on outside?
Well, it's not going on outside yet, because we filmed 4 months in advance.
Okay, so it's not, okay, so when it all goes on, you're out?
When you're out, and then it starts to come to real land, to TV land.
And you're sitting at home with the kids?
You're sitting at home, and you're watching the world learn that you are the biggest bitch in Britain. And then the next day you have to get up and function, and people say, good luck next week on the task.
You're thinking,
and you go, thank you.
I've already done it.
Yeah, and then
that was really horrible.
It got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then the final was watched by 12 million people, and I'm supposed to function in this world where everyone's looking at me.
And how was that? How were your worries with that? Was you nervous, or was it going the way?
No, I never even contemplated.
You never had no idea it'd blow up like this?
I thought, I'll come out in the middle. People will think she's kind of a smart-ish, kind of nice-ish, hard-working-ish person. No way. TV land is quite different in that regard.
Do you think that's the way they cut and edited it as well?
No, I never say that. I never say that. It'd be like this, right? If you made me out to be a complete tit after this, right? You can't necessarily do that. I mean, I help you do that because I make a tit of myself often. But you can't do that if you're not given the stuff. So all that stuff I did on The Apprentice, all that stuff I said, all that
What was the worst thing you said on The Apprentice?
Oh, so many things.
What was it? I'm going to have to watch The Apprentice.
No. They've taken it down, my one, anyway. They destroyed it, yeah. They did the best of Apprentices, didn't show me. I've been disappeared. I've been disappeared from everything.
So you've been deleted from society,
from life.
So that they can say people who you are and people can't get
Because the BBC don't want any ownership of me, because they birthed me as their monster.
So it was you lot, BBC?
Yeah.
You created Katie.
So one of the things that when I was writing the application form, right, in the garden that day, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And I stole someone else's husband, and I enjoyed it. I wrote that on the form. So when there's this last section of The Apprentice, we're basically having interviews.
I've read it out.
They go into their bag and they get this thing out, they make a big fuss, and they go, here's your CV that you filed. Bear in mind what a CV might look like. It says here, you stole someone's husband.
Every woman's going to hate you.
Right.
Oh,
and then the guy says, how ruthless, because he says, oh, you describe yourself as ruthless. And he goes, how ruthless do you think that was? And I said, oh, well, I'd give that probably about a 6. So that's every woman at home that believes their husband's faithful now hates me because I am the woman. So I led to my own demise, but I came out known. And it was from then on, I guess I've been known.
That was the moment.
That was the known.
Katie
I became
Hopkins
known. I was birthed as a monster.
Age 30?
Yeah, 30, 2 kids, no husband.
Wow. So you've been dealing. That'd be a lot to deal with coming out of that house.
Coming out of that, and that's
media.
That's nearly 20 years ago now.
Before Before the internet was as big as it is?
Before that, when The Apprentice was
Okay.
back as more of a business show as opposed to trouts that already had their fillers and their Botox that wanted to be famous. It was just after Ruth Badger.
So what did you
She was
do
brilliant.
after? What did you do after The Apprentice?
Well, I mean, I never realised I got fired from my job. I had a job. I got fired from that because it was a military level base and I was seen as an intelligence and security risk. So I was unemployed again. And I decided at that same time that the world was just coming around to seeing The Apprentice on TV. I started having an affair with another guy. And I had sex in a field with that guy.
Who was the guy? How old was the guy?
Why, are you jealous?
How old was the guy?
Oh, you think I now just bang 90-year-olds?
That's just what I'm checking.
Like my age plus.
Okay.
Like 10 years older.
Okay.
And
yeah, having sex with him in a
we
field?
had sex in a field. Now, it turns out,
photograph?
people think, so people think that was staged because their idea of me is a monster. And a monster would set that up.
Okay.
In reality, my car had a bug on, the sun. It was in the age of that whole hacking thing and stuff.
The media bugged your car
My
with cameras?
car, yeah.
And then...
But followed my car. Also, they had... Now, in hindsight, or on that day, I remember the snapper in the lay-by on the way home. So me and Mark were having sex in the field very happily indeed. And I recommend
Mark's now
it.
your
It's my
husband?
lovely Mark.
Oh, okay.
But when people say to me,
I've asked why you're doing it in the field.
yeah, well,
Why
I mean,
not
why aren't
in a
you?
hotel?
Why aren't you?
Okay.
That, question mark to you.
Good answer.
Which I inadvertently stared at your crotch then. That was really weird. Isn't that funny? But I say to people when they say, well, you banged a guy in a field, I say, that was my husband. But it wasn't at the time, it was someone else's.
Did he have kids?
No. I love the way you make these judgments. You're like, well, we'll let her off. Did
Yeah,
he have
that's
kids?
all right
No,
then.
you're all right then.
That's all right
Go
then.
on, Kate, you're all right. Crack on. So snapper, field, and unbelievably, given me and, what we're up against here, I looked really fucking hot.
You're like, yes, thank you, the sun.
I am telling you now, I don't even know, I think it was The People. Do you remember a newspaper
Yeah,
called
I
The
do,
People,
I do.
The Worst of Mankind? But it's brilliant because it's like my back, and it's in the days when I was like, just had a back, and my hair, and a gait, and me riding someone. Fucking epic. If you could choose a sex in the field picture, I have to thank that snapper, because he did me, if he'd got this side profile, it would have been nose, tiny tits, don't know what's gone on there, right? He got it from the back, I looked smashing.
What happened then?
Well, I had sex in a field, it was marvellous.
And that's all over the papers?
7 o'clock at night,
In the newspaper?
I opened the door, me, home alone, 2 children, front page. This is the front page, we're running tomorrow. Do you have a comment? Now bear in mind you and I now, if someone knocked on our door, A, we're not opening it, B, the kids aren't going near that front door, C, we're going to find out who it is before we open the front door. I mean, we have protocols now in our lives. Back then, at the door of that guy, and I managed to shut the door before I set blood out of my face, lying down in my lounge. The next day, and I'm not this now, I'm not this, my labia's lower than my letterbox. I'm not this bird, I'm still 30-year-old, trying to maybe get a job, 2 children, mum and dad.
And what about Mark? 'Cause he's got a missus.
And Mark's got a missus.
So you ring him up. Tell me how that goes. I'm thinking of Mark here. I was like, fucking what? Yeah, you're on the front page of the newspaper in the field. He's like, oh, mate.
I have to rig. So at this point, because I'm just in The Apprentice, before I've been fired from my very sensible job, working at the Met Office in the UK, not the police.
What was you doing in the Met Office? Weather?
They needed someone.
I read your role. I thought, what even is that, though?
Right. So they needed someone. It was clever. They needed someone to sell what is now been brought in. They needed someone, an early person, to sell the idea of climate change. And they needed someone to sell it to the markets.
Katie, you're responsible for this.
I am.
Climate change.
I persuaded the markets climate change is real, so that they would buy our consultancy advice when they're hedging bets against future markets in oil and gas.
Wow.
I know, it sounds pretty complex, but
Yeah.
back to the story,
Okay,
back to
so
sex in the
yeah,
field,
back
much
to
more your
Mark.
level.
Mark getting the phone call, come on.
Boom, you're going to be pictured, but also I look epic.
I look
no, I
great.
didn't say that at the time. I had to ring the boss of the UK Met Office military intelligence grade. Sir, please could I let you know that tomorrow morning I am on the front page of the People having sex in a field. And he managed to conjure up from in his soul the HR line of, thank you for passing me that information. I will return to you. What a lad. What a lad. He did not go for, what the fuck, Hopkins? I'm gonna fucking rip you limb from... He just went full HR. And I had to withstand that.
Tell me about the phone call to Mark. Was you with Mark? Did you see him in person? Did you ring
He
him?
was back at his house with his wife. I don't know what I did. May have blown him quite hard. No. Okay, so that was quite a drama. And bear in mind, you have to bear that in mind of not now. Because if that happened to us now, we'd be like, hey, what's new? But back then...
Yeah, this is
different. 20 years ago, babe. 20 years ago. And then, you know, I told my...
Did you ring your mum and dad?
No, but I told my mum they'd forged it.
It was fake?
Yeah, she believed me. I couldn't tell her.
Photoshopped it, mum. That's not me.
That's what I said.
Look at her back.
I did. I said I wouldn't look that good. Anyway. And that's when I really became known. Yeah. And then from there...
So how long after The Apprentice was this?
Oh, no. So it kind of was happening at the same time because I've come back home, this has come out to TV, I'm busy having an affair. The moment I'm like maximum famous everywhere, I'm busy having sex in a field. Turns out they've bugged my car. Snippy, snap, snap. I'm now super famous and super fired. I am super fired. Not for having sex in a field,
so
but for being...
Then you're jobless again.
I'm jobless. And you say it like that, like, I've done this every time. Look what I've done every time. You and I both.
I looked through when I was going through your life, I was thinking, bloody hell.
Take a hand grenade.
One, gone. One,
pull the pin.
Gone.
As soon as you're doing great, it's not hard enough. It's not, and I don't know, I only know this in reflection, right? I don't think this as I'm going along, like, oh, I've got a nice job and a nice house, here I go. Yeah, no. But on reflection, each time in life I've made it in some people's eyes, right? I've had to just go, no, this isn't hard enough then, is it? And so now I'm known, and now I get invited onto ITV this morning with Phil and Holly. And now I'm the lady that goes on there twice a week
Would you
to give her views.
Would you let Phil babysit? So you got
Elton John.
Would you let him babysit? It's mental, isn't it? And everyone acted like a hero when he come out there, he was gay. It's like, mate.
So brave.
Yeah, you're so brave.
Poor
Grooming
Eamon.
little children.
Poor Eamon, knowing what he knew, having to go,
and him getting
you're
hammered.
so brave.
Yeah.
And Ruth.
Yeah.
Ruth knew all along. Ruth was the one that reported it.
I like
She's
Eamon.
a legend.
I like Eamon and Ruth.
Eamon and Ruth, legends.
Yeah, I like him.
First time I ever met, so I apologise in advance, warning for the language. First time I ever went on the sofa and it was Eamon, not Holly and Phil. I sat down and Eamon looked up and he went, oh, hello, Katie. They're all a bunch of cunts.
Is that what he said?
First line he's ever said to me.
Did he?
First line, and I was like, that is awesome, because no one ever spoke like that to me and told me the truth, and he knew all along.
Yeah.
He was warning right at day one, you're surrounded yourself by sharks here, babe. So I'd go on twice a week on This Morning. And it would get maximum ratings because everyone loved that the baddie was there going, well, not. I was being honest what I thought. I still think what I think. Anything I've said, I think. I
That's
wouldn't
total.
employ
That's total. That's it.
Exactly.
So it's not you've said things just to because it looks like at times as you're looking through, you've picked different groups to just piss off.
I mean it.
Oh, wicked.
I mean, I would say, did I give it, like, you know this, we talked about this. Are you and I always going to get, when we were on mainstream, were we always going to get only about 2 minutes to get our point in, right?
Yeah.
Before we get cut off. So you're on there.
Fast as you can, quick as you can, get in.
Would I employ a fat person? No, I would not, because they look lazy or make my business look lazy, and I don't want that look for my business. That's the cut.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if later I'm saying, I'd really like to help people feel better about themselves. Doesn't matter.
That's not going in.
That's not going in. And I'm not trying to make myself sound better.
The sound bites.
I'm just saying, and I still mean it. I wouldn't employ a fat person. I wouldn't. So I mean it. It's fine. It's fine. And you know, they probably wouldn't employ me. Quits. I don't like the name Tyler because where I took my kids to school and dropped them before I was allowed to walk near the school, before I was famous, well known, whatever, There was a Tyler. I fucking hated that kid. I went on and I said it. There's always one. You know what? You know at your kids' school who they are. Tyler! Stop biting Destiny! There's always one. There's the dribbly kid, the snotty kid, the bitey kid.
There's always a snotty kid.
There's the kid that smells like piss. There's the
Poor
mother
kid.
with the
That's the
football
poor
shirt
kid.
on, with her fat arm out the window of the car. The Renault Espace. So all I was telling was truth, and the reason they worked wasn't because I was a bitch. They worked because in people's minds they knew they thought a little bit like me, and that was what they had to just deny and call me a bitch, because they knew they thought what I thought a little bit on the side. Anyway, that was the This Morning years, and then I was really well known.
And how was it being that well known? How was it day to day being that well known? Would you say that you was a figure of hate then?
Not so
Or did that
much.
come-
That came next.
That came next.
Yeah, that's when that's when something different happens. So when you reach the point where so then I get offered LBC Radio, and I've been a Sun columnist.
What year is this?
So 2017-ish.
Okay, so not that long ago.
Not that long ago. And then I'm employed by Rupert Murdoch direct under his editor. And then the Daily Mail come along and poach me from the Sun. So Lord Rothermere goes and steals me off Murdoch. That's some pretty big enemies right there. Then you get your LBC gig where everybody at LBC hates you because it's a left-wing organisation run by James O'Brien.
Does he run it?
Huh?
He runs it?
100%. I mean,
God, he's fucking awful and all.
he runs it.
I don't get it.
He's not the boss, but he runs it
Okay.
in every way. And suddenly when you get that level of volume, that's when that net started to go around
When
me.
you've upset influential people who are in
You've
control
got
of
jobs.
media.
What do you mean you were LBC? What? You're all right on the This Morning sofa, but now you're in James O'Brien's studio, and now you're at Daily Mail.
What reach did you have at those times?
Oh. So most read column on the most read newspaper on the planet. LBC most listened to Sunday radio show commercial. They're massive.
The biggest on the platforms.
Biggest on the biggest and bigger than, so Piers Morgan was my opposite columnist, and it used to be a thing. Our boss would put up who was doing better because it would piss Piers off.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But only because you were writing, you weren't trying to write to get views or likes, you were just being honest, and it resonated because no one had a voice.
And no one's been honest for so long.
No one's been honest.
So when someone
about
comes on
my
and starts telling
failures,
the truth.
about things, about standing on the shoreline in Italy, watching these boats, sat in Bradford at the garage watching the running of drugs whilst white people are policed for speeding on the nice side of town.
It's
Just
all the different
honest stuff,
journalism he was
man.
doing.
Yeah, just sat in Calais watching the Afghans beat up the Somalis because they still hate the Eritreans. I mean, you can't say this nice refugee, oh, bless them, here for a better life. No, they're not. They're fighting in Calais over old, animosities they've had for years. That's the stuff. Showing up, save the children.
Did you think you've had military, you've gone to different careers, you've done The Apprentice. Do you think
Found my
Do
home.
you think when you touched journalism?
Yeah, on the road. Never ever sat. If I wrote a column sat still in my home, I felt.
That's me.
I felt
Same here.
I felt I let people. I cannot bear. We talked about this on the drive here because we couldn't stay in London. But I was mentioning about what I do now. I have an obsession almost about not letting people down. I don't know where that can come from, any number of things, but the idea that I would let people down would be the worst thing that could ever happen to me. It makes me upset thinking about it, but
Is that because you think you've become a voice for them? Or is it because...
I won't tolerate lack of effort on the behalf, like telling a story, you need to see it to tell
so
it.
if you're telling someone else's story, you feel...
Or if I sat in my kitchen writing a column, like all columnists do, like lazy bastards, get the words
But when you
down.
meet the person, you've got that connection with them and
Yeah,
they're
you
relying
feel
on
it.
you to tell their story,
Yeah, you feel you can feel a person when you're with them. So just that not letting people down, that was my ultimate home was, LBC was so brutal. They were so brutal that working there was...
Why?
They were...
Why?
Oh my God.
What do you mean?
They tried everything.
To get rid of you? Or they tried everything?
They had a producer who would pull my phone lines, and I don't know who paid her to do that, but they eventually...
What do you mean by pull your phone lines?
So LBC relies on phone calls coming in, because that's the show, it's a talk show, and you pull in all these different conversations. You can see a headline of so that goes through a call screening, you can see the different conversations, so you get someone from over here, your opinion, someone that hates me is just going to call me the worst names. That's the show, that's the crafting of the show, is picking... Someone had paid my producer, who was my friend, to just say that the phone lines had gone down. So you're left on a show with no phone lines, and at peak time, in the only 2 hours you've got, and it takes 20 minutes to reboot the machine. Eventually they had to put someone behind her to work out why the phones kept going down on my show.
When you say someone's paid her, who do you think at that point?
Could be... it will be a religious organisation or a political organisation.
Okay, so outside interference from NGOs,
100%.
Hope Not Hate sort of organisations?
100%. And then...
And that's because at this time, you're sitting on the, as you said, you're one of the most listened to people.
Most listened to.
And you're discussing...
And we're allowing...
conversations.
And I've got an asylum seeker in the studio, I've got Sikhs in the studio, I've got the line open to girls who were abused and have been abused, and Maggie and all the rest, girls, and I've got a girl on the show, she was, and this is meant in every supportive way to every victim, but she was a smart girl who went to private school with middle-class parents, and she got by the majority Pakistani Muslim rape squads, and everything went crazy because people suddenly realised it wasn't just happening to someone that didn't matter. And you know that I don't mean that about those girls, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was a girl just like their daughters in the heart of London. And so those clips from my show were the most viewed, and then it turned out the most viewed one was deleted from the memory of LBC, so it couldn't be viewed anymore. And they had an investigation into that. And then the other things that happened to me on that place, it was brutal.
This is LBC. So you're challenging conversations on national radio.
With every opinion.
With every opinion, but what you're challenging is certain narratives that outside influences have been working very hard for. Open border immigration,
5 years
problems
ago.
from open border immigration.
Well, this is nearly, I mean, we're talking now about 7 years ago.
Yeah, you're having the conversations that
right at that time.
They're the conversations we weren't allowed to have. But at the time, when LBC first came about, it was refreshing.
Yeah, and then you saw them, and then James took more and more power, and
it's a bit like GB News. What's happened there?
Yeah, but I was being crushed without knowing it at that time, and then all these different things were happening to me.
You're being sabotaged.
And then on Mail Online, I felt it just got tighter and tighter until eventually Martin was really, my editor was the only one left standing, and then one day it came. One day the axe fell on my throat, and a letter came. I was stood on the coastline in southern Italy. I was stood next to this great big Save the Children boat. I was at the boat asking if I could go on the boat. They wouldn't let me on. And they were hiding away from me. I was ringing head office, Save the Children. I'm here. Could I get on the boat? I'd love to join them. They were waiting to go and be the ferry that met with the Libyans that were bringing human flesh across the Med for a price per pound is how pretty much how this still works. And I was trying to get onto the boat, and I was watching. Yeah, and they knew when they were leaving, and everyone inland knew when they were arriving, and everything was coordinated, and I was just showing it. And I know this is stuff we know.
Yeah, but the public don't know this.
Yeah, and I had a photographer with me, a translator with me. It wasn't just me and a tripod, and this where they kind of portray us as being jokers. And that day was the day, and I wrote that up. I had help from immigration officials, a couple of, mafia guys in town that took their cut, the hotels, they were talking, we had the photos of the hotels, €45 a day per head, all of it together, that was the day. And the emails came in to the one under Lord Rothmere, my boss, and it was Chief Rabbi, I've still got the email, so it's documented, Brendan Cox, Save the Children, obviously, Board of Deputies, Muslim Council, Labour Party.
All of them come together.
Same day, all different people, each one of them. And Martin, literally, I've got the email from him. What the fuck? what the fuck is going on? And he didn't know. No one talks to Martin Clark. No one gets to Martin. No one tells Martin what to do. And all of these people came and said, you need to disassociate from that woman. Same day.
So it's coordinated attack.
100%. So it's why there's so much clarity. This is the
coordinated.
Tate. This is Andrew Tate. This is you.
This is coordinated censorship.
Coordinated cull.
Cole, she's got to go.
Push her till she's dead.
And what happened?
Pretty much that.
The Mail just said,
Gone.
you're gone.
LBC.
Do you mind if I ask
gone.
do you mind if I ask what sort of contracts you're on?
A lot.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're successful again, because you're successful, very successful.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Was it?
To the point I felt bad about the amount of money I was being paid to do something I thought was really important.
Do you mind if I ask how much? A lot of money.
It's a lot. It was more than you imagine.
Wow. But you're bringing. I suppose you're getting paid because you're the most read column. So
I'm doing what
you're bringing in the revenue.
And it wasn't the money. I do it today for free. I do it any day for free. I did on LBC.
You're doing that
for free.
You've done it for years for free.
And I don't have any of that. I've had it all taken. So that's kind of. It's never our money anyway. Anything we might own ever is never ours.
I want to get onto that because this is going to be an interesting story as well.
But it's never ours.
No, because they're coming to get it.
Yeah, we never ever own anything.
So they all write on the same day. They all put pressure. So pressure comes on him from everywhere.
And
you're gone.
I'm gone.
You've lost your job. No reason given?
Oh, I mean, Martin showed. I mean, I was lucky that Martin started forwarding me what he's forwarded me because I was able to see.
What was it?
Oh, just the chief rabbi saying she needs to be removed. She's,
This is the elite, then.
This is the most senior of the most senior head of entire religious faiths. Heads of the Muslim faith together with the head of the Jewish faith, together with the head of the Catholic faith.
And I guess this is going to be a domino effect.
And then one after another. So job goes, all jobs go. And all any other things you may have been going to do a little talk somewhere or something, just out of your
just all of a sudden, bang, deleted.
You don't exist. Then it was the Jack Monroe stuff. So the court
What's the Jack
case.
Monroe stuff?
So I did a tweet where I got the wrong person, and I held my hands up, deleted, apologised. I can't even imagine what else I did. Offered to meet, offered to do an interview. I tried to basically make good.
Correct the wrong.
But I wouldn't give. She asked for $5,000 that she was going to give to a refugees charity. I still have that email, and I wouldn't do that because my principles say I won't give $5,000 to people who are killing my country.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't give her the money. It went to court, and it ended up in the High Court, and I fought it. Everyone will tell you never go to the High Court. But if you're a principled person, and the law is the law, and you know you can't allow this to happen, you go to the High Court. So you go to the High Court because it's not possible that someone can take everything you have because they perceive that they were harmed. So they don't have to show that they lost a contract or a job, or I lost my Daily Mail contract, for example. I could show you that I lost that and what that was worth. You don't have to do that by law now in the UK because of me. You today, anyone here can perceive you have been hurt by my words. That's enough. Sue me tomorrow. 30K. You can ask for straight away. That's the new law. And she won, funded by, I don't have the proof of who she was funded by, but I do know that when bankruptcy proceedings had to be held with me sat at the front of the room while they all decided how much money they could take from me and my husband, the guy had to go back outside to do a conference call with the people that were running him to agree just how to the edge they would push me. And they took everything.
What year was this?
4 years ago, 5, just before I left for the States.
So, Jesus, man, we go again. So, because I got made bankrupt, and that's when I left the UK.
Yeah.
So
it's the same kind of device they used for you.
How much were your legal costs?
750,000.
Over a tweet.
Yeah, but then also 750,000 in costs, 35,000 to the girl, lady, for perceived serious harm.
So the damage is 35,000 to her, but this isn't where they get you. They don't get that. That figure doesn't matter. It's the legal costs.
750, but then they kept coming for something else. There was success fees. My guys won some small element of it. I think it was arranged between both barristers working together.
They do. That's what they do.
There was a small success thing, and then they put up. They can have 100%.
100% uplift. They've got rid of that since our case, since yours
so
and mine.
They took another about 130,000.
It means everyone no win, no fee.
Yeah, and
then they double the money they get. So no win, no. Their lawyers were all acting for free to destroy you, and when they win,
on both sides.
On both sides. And when they win, they get double the money.
And they were meeting.
When they win,
both
they get double the
sides.
money.
So basically, in order to...
So this was 4 years ago.
And that took everything. So I went through an IVA, individual voluntary action, something, where basically you have nothing. We sold the family home.
The family home.
That was a joke in the paper that it was going to be auctioned off for refugees. It's a joke to them, which I get is funny to them, but those are my children's bedrooms, and I brought some myself. Maybe you hope that someone will say, no, you can't destroy a woman over perceived serious harm for a tweet that's been deleted. My lawyers also managed to change the handle of the person I apologised to so that I didn't apologise to the right person. And then they took half of what lovely Mark had before me.
You told me this at the time. So when I got my court case, do you remember I rang you up and spoke to you and said, Katie, I've seen you've been through this. They took your home. They ruined your family. I remember you saying, no, they can do what they want. They can do what they want in this case. Because I was saying
they'll do anything.
Because I was saying they can't do that.
You were trying to find the rationale.
I was thinking they can't do that. How can they do that? Like, I've got the proof. They can't do that. And I remember you warning me saying they can do what they want. They took. So your now husband, Mark.
Mark, they took his stuff.
So Mark had
a
money,
savings account
he had
before
a savings
he met
account
me.
before he met you. And when they bankrupt you, because he's your husband,
they took his.
They cleared his money out of his account.
Yeah. And this was money he'd had back from when
This is financial terrorism, yeah? It's financial terrorism. It's picking people and it's using the judicial system to absolutely destroy them.
And
as I said, this isn't about censorship, because by this time you were censored.
Oh, I've been culled.
You've been culled from everything.
I've been destroyed.
But that ain't good enough. They want the house.
And as
they want you ended.
Ended. And throw my kids out.
I'm guessing this was all at the time when... Was this the time when you were contemplating moving?
I'm in hospital now.
For?
Getting my brain surgery done.
Oh, wow, because you had...
Yeah, my top of my head taken off. You've felt the top of my head, haven't you?
No.
Oh, you can. And...
Go on. What happened?
Okay, hold on. I've got to remove my hair clip. So my hair might take a bit of a turn because of this. So you're responsible for the fact I now look like terrible things. Okay, are you squeamish? Sit down.
I am, yeah.
Are you a little bit squeamish?
No, I'm all right.
Sure?
What are we
It's
gonna
not sticky.
Go on.
Put it on my crotch. Okay, so
oh my God.
That's what they took off in a big circle. And then, if you feel that there...
Oh my God.
And then, ready?
I can feel it.
Can you feel it move?
Yeah.
That's my brain moving. Look at your little face.
Jesus, man.
So they circular sword, quite literally. This...
The head's like flat.
Yeah.
It's like flat.
Yeah.
And you had what wrong with you?
So they took
this is all going on at the same time as your bankruptcy.
They knew.
They're laughing about taking your family's home off you.
Yeah, and put it on Channel 4 News that my kids were homeless. And that they knew I was having brain surgery, and I asked them to wait because the outcome of my surgery was obviously not at all guaranteed.
Brain surgery for? What did you have wrong there?
To get the tumour out.
You had a cancerous tumour?
No, just a big old fat, thick bit of fatness.
You wouldn't think your head could... So if you get a bang there...
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, if you get a bang there...
It's gone.
You've got no skull there?
No.
I didn't know that.
I know.
Wow. So you're in hospital going through this.
And I asked them to press pause on it.
On the trial?
Just press pause.
Or the result of the trial?
Or just the whole thing.
Yeah,
I can just
sort my health
Well,
out.
and I thought if I didn't make it, because the odds weren't...
They can't take the house?
Well, I'll be gone.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't pause it. That's what really... Honestly, that's what upset me, I think. That's what upsets me, is that when I appealed to kind of a basic level of humanity that said, statistically, I should show you the odds aren't great for this surgery, because if you have your head taken off and they go into your brain, you often don't come back. but they wouldn't stop.
I don't think I can quite stress to anyone watching this the pressure of a high court trial where you face, or your family face, losing everything is what I went through. I come out of mine and went straight to 28-day rehab, instantly. It was the first break I could have. I thought, where can I go? Start COVID. I need to get away, my head's gone. And I went to a rehabilitation centre for 28 days. And when everyone's sitting around saying, why are you here? I said, I'm here for a fucking break. I'm here to get away, man. I need a break. But I don't think anyone can quite... You as a mother, and Mark, your new husband, so you've got 2 kids, both girls. You then get with Mark, you get married again?
Married to Mark, have a son.
Married to Mark, you have a son. What sort of pressure did this court case, losing the home, put on your relationship with you and Mark?
I mean, I guess we were lucky in the sense we had this weird perspective thing, because I knew I had to have this surgery, and I was always too scared to have the surgery because I was a coward. But eventually it got to the point I was having these huge seizures by this point, big grand mal seizures, the ones that you see like
shaking,
the ones where people look and think, what the hell, you know? And they would dislocate my shoulders and things, and I've bitten through my tongue, and that's why my lips are a bit weird. And so I knew, and they said, the consultants said, look, within 2 years, a seizure like one of these will get you. So they said, but you could try surgery. We're willing to try, which is amazing. Like, if I'd missed this opportunity, I wouldn't get it now because the way the NHS is. But just at that moment, this amazing guy who was brilliant said, I'll give it a try. So we agreed that I would have it done. I was still terrified. If you go to the epilepsy hospital, no disrespect to anyone there, but a lot of them are dragging left leg, left hand that have had surgery because that's a side effect. You lose your left side.
Brain, okay.
Or a lot worse things also.
And
you're surrounded, and I would come out of that place and I would cry because I'd be like, I look at my future and I can't be this person. So they had me in to tell me about the surgery, and so we've done loads of tests and stuff, really weird tests. So they call it the deficit. So the deficit was going to be left eye, speech, left hand, I'm left-handed, left leg, or you don't come back at all. So the idea is you could come back, but you might not be able to see or speak or use your hand or your leg. So I was always like, do you know what, I'd really sign up for this whole thing if I could not come back at all. Like, do not bring me back. Like and you can't tell someone, there's no instruction that says, kill me off. So anyway, I ended up I just had to make the call that I was going to have the surgery because I was going to be killed anyway by my seizures. But the day I walked out my house, I still see it. We arranged it so that my mum and dad would come around the side of the house as I came out the back door of the house. And I didn't tell the children where I was going. And Mum and Dad wouldn't speak to me. And they would go in the front door as we came out the back door. And then we went up to London to have the surgery. And I'd made a folder so that if I didn't come back, everything was super clear. And I'd written a letter to each of the kids explaining why I didn't mention it to them. So that they would know I was always in their pocket. And I couldn't speak to my mum either because I knew I'd lose it. So I went up to hospital and then had this done, and that was at the same time as this court case.
Wow, I was feeling sorry for myself for my court case.
Well, don't feel sorry for me. That would be the worst thing I would want. And then, 14 hours I was in, and they just took the top of my head off and then went in and got this thing out and threw it away. And they put your head back to start with. They put your skull back. And they try and rebuild your head, but I got meningitis, so I was in there about 3 months in the end, and they went back in, got that out, and they stapled from the top of this ear. I can get you the pictures actually. They stapled from the top of that ear all the way around.
Can you put the picture in here?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We'll put the picture on, because Mark took a picture when I came round, and then he wouldn't show it to me because it's so savage.
For a woman as well.
Yeah, because your hair And anyway, I came round and I still had all my things. And the first thing I did was wiggle my big toe, my big left toe.
Give a left wink.
And I was like, I think I'm back. So in a way, the court thing was horrendous, and the house lost.
And you've come out of this operation, then they've took your house.
And they wouldn't stop it. They wouldn't stop it. And when they came for the IVA, the bankruptcy, they even came for the medical, because I used to have a medical fund just for funding some of this stuff, and they took that.
They took that money as well.
Yeah.
As I said, this is not about justice. None of it's about justice. We don't have a justice system, we've got a legal system. If they want to turn it on anyone, they can.
Yeah, and it's full fire.
And it's fucking and then you sit there thinking, how do I do this?
Yeah, and you want to, and you hear it sometimes, people will try and rationalise, like you did to me that time. You called me, and I remember where I was sitting when I took that call.
You told me straight. No, they'll do what they want.
Yeah, and I was sitting in the dark in my little office because I didn't want anyone else to hear, so we'd be private. And when people try to rationalise stuff, I kind of like it, because I want them to still believe
the system works.
And that's what you would want.
Yeah, but because you've been through it, you know it doesn't.
Yeah. You can't.
And then all this is happening, and the media are gloating about it.
It's at Channel 4 News. Katie loses their house, and I'm in hospital with no brain.
Refugees now taking it. I can remember it. There was all online, everyone mocking it. Your kid's home's gone.
Yeah, and they were laughing.
And then at that stage, this has been my biggest fear my whole time. Yeah, the whole time. I know what they're doing. I know what they want to do. They don't want to censor me. They want to break me. They want to financially destroy me, and they want my family relying on the state. Because if my children rely on the state, I'm fucked. It's game over. It's game over. They're not safe. There's no safety and stability then.
No.
Which I can do what I do, so long as they have stability and safety. Yeah?
I know, of course.
You know, it's like,
of course.
It's parallel. It's the same.
And that's why we have to keep, and this is for all parents, this isn't us, right? All parents, I think, are trying to thread through their children, right, these threads, so that they're like steel threads, you know. That's how I see it with my kids. Thread them through them, so that one day if they get got by something, or they get tested, those threads are there, right? So they can remember, right, what would mum say? So then, like, I have one who's a farmer at 19, at 19, healthcare assistant, I don't want to overstate it, band 3. I have one that's a farmer, lives in a caravan on a farm, farms a herd of cattle, and a son that wants to be a mechanic. And to me, that is bands of steel, right? I want them to learn that first. If they want to do other stuff later,
then they've got their fallback.
Right. And be solid, and be around solid men that will teach them solid skills, and solid women that will teach them about laughing or being okay, you know. And it's about always talking with them about, you know who you are. As long as you know who you are, we're all good. It's that, right? That's what we're trying to do, is make our kids solid enough in case we're not around. I joked with you a minute ago, we always have to treat each time we see each other.
It might be last.
Like the last time we see each other. And we can both say that
I hope
without...
this doesn't age well.
No, but we can both say that without a moment of self-pity. We wouldn't change anything.
Because I've accepted it.
A long time ago.
Can I ask, so when you lose the house, that's what, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
How old are your children then?
So 12, 13.
Are they in school? Have they had to leave their schools? Have they had to go relocate at that time?
Just trying to think how old my son was. So my son was about 8 or 9. So we went. So I kind of, to all intents and purposes, externally, after I was kind of finished, bankrupted as well, I left the UK. So to all intents and purposes, everything stopped with me in their life, and then they kind of set up differently with their dad out the way in the countryside, change locations of everything and them and where they go and all of that.
They had a new start, you had a new start, but you were away from...
Yeah, and then I had no names, changed any links.
When you think about all this, everything, what have you actually done wrong? Said your opinions?
Nothing.
You've just give your opinions on things.
Never hurt anyone.
Spoke openly honest with your mouth.
Never stolen and never
Expressed
done anything.
freedom of speech.
Yeah, never, nothing. Never.
And you've been crucified.
Yeah.
To an extent of not a little bit of mockery, not a little bit of slander, to the total destruction of your life.
You know how sometimes, like in other countries, you see the barbarity of being hung from JCB cranes, or women have rocks thrown at them. And and people point and say, oh, the barbarity, and I think...
No, they've done it a slow way over here.
That is fast.
That's fast, yeah, I've had years of it. It's sad, it's negative, but it's going to go somewhere positive.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going to go somewhere positive? Because whoever orchestrated this court case against you, yeah, same with mine, would have thought it would have broke you. You've probably been hit by so many things where you shouldn't be sitting here. You shouldn't have the following you've got. You shouldn't be walking through here and everyone greeting you and wanting to say hello to you and Katie, how are you, yeah? And greeting you in a very positive way. You should, through their active campaign, you should be hated, but you're not. So you've gone away for 4 years, mood of the country shifted now, yeah? Lots of people realise, oh, shit, a lot of what she was saying was right, yeah? A lot of what she was doing was right. You've come back to the UK then?
Yeah, and then, you know, and this is the craziness. You know, the reason I'm so positive and joyful and optimistic and everything is I am so grateful to the people that have always stood by us. I'm so grateful to the new people that are joining us. And I came back from America really, having somehow maintained a relationship with my home and my family in some severed way that was brutal at times. And the country, it's like an earthquake, you know, where the plates you're literally standing on is what it's taken. The plates we were standing on have gone, and they've gone off. Where they were like once here, they're now 180. And people who have suddenly found that the earth shifted under them need something that's constant. And the thing that's been constant is you and me and some other people that maybe they can rely on, and some other things, maybe their closest family member or a husband or a wife. But otherwise, everything changed. You know, with COVID and the pandemic, people's relationship, their best man was suddenly an absolute arsehole and they weren't invited to a funeral or to Christmas. The neighbour they thought they knew wouldn't pass them in the street unless they were wearing 85 masks and had 55 boosters shoved up their ass. Like, the world changed. And it changed in lots of different ways. And nothing gives me greater pleasure, well, some things. No, I get incredible joy out of seeing people say, you know, Tommy was right all along. And I saw a thing the other day that said, Tommy Robinson is the Alan Bates. Is it Alan Bates of the Post Office, the guy who's been the hero of the Post Office? Why haven't they made a programme about Tommy? And I feel like saying, yeah, they've tried to make a few, but Panorama didn't go so great for them. But you see, the joy of it is the quiet. I never spoke about all of the things we've just spoken about. Not in this.
You've never played the victim.
Never ever told people all that I told.
You've ever sat and...
Never told anyone.
No, but because you have been a victim. You may not see yourself, well, you have been a victim.
But I've never told it because I've always held it.
I've done a lot of. I've cried about it.
Yeah.
Moaned about it a hell of a lot. I've never heard you moaning about it.
No, I've never mentioned it.
Never.
Never. Because it was part of who I am, and amazingly, I suppose, in time, people will see that the person maybe they now love a little bit is the same person they thought they hated, and all of that was being done to me. So I never mentioned it.
For me, it's quite. You're a very, very strong woman, Katie. I said it many times. I said, Jesus, man.
I'm a softie, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I mean strong to be so resilient, to still be. I've seen some of the campaigns against you to totally try and belittle you. Well, now it's them that look like the biggest arseholes. At the time, they might have been laughing, but now, as the mood shifted.
It's been 15 years, and it could have gone the other way. It could have been that my end point was holding all this and no one knowing, and the world still hating me. But you know, that still would have been okay, because I know I am speaking truth, and I know that.
Is there anything you'd change, Katie? Nothing?
No, because I wouldn't not have kids. In order to spare them. I wouldn't change any of the money stuff because I don't own anything and I find it quite lovely. I've been, lovely Mark has been this bloody anchor, this quiet, shy guy that people like.
Mark sounds like Jenna.
Yeah.
Poor Mark, poor Jenna.
Yeah, but people was like, I never thought he'd look like that, because he looks a bit like a geography teacher.
Does he?
And I'm like, yes, he's very deceptive.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, but he's hung like a donkey. So it's just been brilliant, and now we're so blessed, because life is just
How many, in the last,
so amazing.
where are you now? What have you done in the last 12 months, Kate?
Well, my new thing is to try and recreate spaces where people can still gather and feel better. And there's some punches that come along the way with that. So I now do a stand-up comedy tour. And in the last effort at doing that, just me and lovely Mark giving it a whirl, booking venues and people buying all the seats up out of support, even if they couldn't stand me before. I lost 47 venues that pulled. And
Due to pressure, threats, the usual
threats,
left-wing
threats of
tactics.
violence. The left wing, just horrendous, threatening to stab someone who worked there. I mean, just horrible stuff. But the point is, each time you take a cancellation like that, it's a punch. But if you just determined you're going to keep going, and so this year, from April through till July, is the second tour, big tour, and every single venue that held last time has
Held again.
rebooked, and we've just booked in another 40. So it's a war of attrition, but one I will continue to win and fight. And the biggest thing isn't me on the stage, really, because I'm an arse. It's what people walk in those rooms, 500 people, and they go...
I'm around 500 of me. It's not just me.
And the me is
We all think
old,
like this.
young, good-looking, gay, straight, lesbians. I love being a... You know I love me a lesbian. I love me a lesbian. I do, a good, sturdy lesbian. I can't get enough of them. I can't. I just want to be amongst them. Just imagine them gnawing away on that thing like a beaver at a buffet. All of us, and they go in, and what it is after all this time, they're like, oh, I can let it go.
Be myself.
I'm not going to be judged tonight.
Don't care.
And they go to the bar, and they have a drink, and they have a laugh, and at the break, they're all chatting, and they come. I had a call
build
from
a
a
community.
venue, and they were worried, because they'd never sold so many individual seats. And they
People
were
come on
like,
their own.
they said, we think it might be a coordinated attack.
Infiltration.
And it turned out they were mostly middle-aged ladies, and they were like, shit, they're just coming on their own because they know they'll be all right.
That's what people do at our demos.
So lush.
People do that at our demos. They
If
just turn up on their
they're
own.
the same
Drive
thing.
4 hours on their own.
Right, because they know when they get there,
They're
they'll be
amongst their
around
people.
friend, and they know they'll leave feeling better.
Everyone will welcome them.
That's the tonic that we need right now, is to feel
How
better.
many tours are you doing? How many shows are you doing in this period?
This, if I survive it, it's like, I think 95 dates is big. I'm virtually Peter Kay.
Where do people get those tickets from? Where do people buy the tickets?
So I run a pub on a Friday online called Katie's Arms, because
Yep.
there was a bit of a thing for a while about my tranny arms. So katiesarms.com.
katiesarms.com.
Go on there. Yeah,
So people
and
go
they're
on-
cheap. We don't do, it's
People
not,
go on katiesarms.com, they can
20
see the
quid.
tour dates, they can get their tickets.
Yeah, but don't come for me, because I'm shy and I get embarrassed. But come to be in the audience, because you will bloody love those people, and it will change. You will leave there knowing it's going to be all right, and I know that it's going to be all right.
Oh, we're winning. Which must piss them all off.
We'll
still
go
in.
out of here.
Our voices
There'll be
are,
someone
we'll
out
get
there with
killed.
an SA80. You're like, we're winning.
See you later. Spoke too soon.
Yeah, and you too.
The public opinion's on our side.
Yeah.
I get it everywhere I go, so
Of
I just
course.
think that...
It matters what you do. You know, there's a few things I need to tell you, which is that it really matters. And I've told you this before, but you weren't in such a good place to receive them once before.
don't
Because
even
you'd only
remember
just...
it.
I know.
Do you know when we're...
I know.
I just cried my eyes out, don't
I know, you were poorly, man. But in a really honest way, and I would, you know, I only ever wanted to tell you that, you know, I'd be around.
I had a good suit on.
You look really good. You're sweating like a fucking
Was I?
Schofield in a playground, man. But yeah, because you were, you know, you weren't really processing all the signals of the world at that point. You couldn't process your own voice. Your own voice sounded weird to you because you
I
hadn't
remember.
spoken for so
Didn't
long.
sound like me, yeah.
But that's why I think people take such heart from you, is because you're unrelenting, and because you've got courage. There's a lot of people who use you for clicks and, oh, Tommy, and Even Tommy should be allowed to protest. People who
Totally young.
dilly-dally with they try and put their toe over the line to get some of the support that you have. They're like this, but they don't want to be too close to you because they don't want.
associate.
And they want to be inoculated against any. I don't want to say I know him, but I'll just touch him with my tippy toe. And I see those boys, and I say to them, I see you, I know you, and I could call you out by name if I chose to. But know that I know you, and you know who they are as well.
Well, I know now that the issues you've spoke about, the issues I've spoke about, back when we were speaking about them, listen to what they done, yeah? Now you've got lots of people sitting on TV studios, sitting saying, well, I'm sorry, these grooming gangs and these these Muslim, and now you're confident. Now there's no backlash. Now there's nothing. But before doing that, they'll slam us. Before doing that, they'll say, well, Tommy Robinson's this, and then bang, they go in and say everything we've been saying for 10 years. It's frustrating, but I don't really care.
The parallel is not the same as the post office in any way, obviously, but it's the same idea. Post office scandal, oh, well, I've been fighting for the post office for decades. Oh, well, I've stood up for the post. Do you see they all want a piece of it? A piece of it, and that's like they are with you.
Yeah.
But I think your bravery is to say, I will not allow people to be misled that the law is the law. I will prove to people
the corruption of the British
and that's
police
what you're
state.
doing, is laying that out.
Katie, I know. How long we're probably going a good few hours now.
We have.
We'll have to do this again because there's still about 20 or 30 points.
We could do it without the cameras.
Yeah, there's still so many points. There's still so many things
I know.
that you've gone through that we haven't had a chance to cover.
I know, but you know what is ultimately we're ordinary, and this fight we've been in for 20 years or
I think
more.
you're extraordinary. Go on.
We've been in for 20 years or more is the fight of the ordinary people.
Yeah.
And the reason I am supremely confident that we win is because it is ordinary people who will win this with us. And that is why you see the farmers and the Irish and good people stand up, because it's ordinary people that will win this. And anytime I have a moment of, golly, another thing, I look around and I say, right, okay, then choose your side, which side you're going to be on. Our side, which is a side that wants people to be all right, free as you can be, happy as you can be, and I hope you're going to be okay.
Small government.
Or that side. That is an easy decision right there. And that's the only thing people have to decide when they wake up in the morning.
And the lines are getting a lot clearer.
Which side do I choose? The side that wants everyone to be okay, or that side that's trying to crush the souls of ordinary men? Our side. So that's the reason we win, and that's the reason this is a great time for us to be around. And
Great time to be back. Do you remember me ringing you about Twitter? Do you remember? So I'm walking along. I'm in Spain.
I don't know if I even knew.
I'm walking along, and I used to look at Twitter even though I weren't on Twitter. Yeah, but I used to have a little flick through, and I saw, well, that's my account.
Who's
I'm
that?
looking, thinking, what the fuck? That's my account. My account's back. And I'm walking around thinking, how's my account back? And then I saw yours was back, so I messaged you. I said,
I hadn't seen.
You were back on Twitter.
I was like, no, you're silly. I was like, what is
are you
he
talking about?
clubbing?
Yeah. And I was like, no, you're back on Twitter. Like,
And then you were like, Elon brought us back.
yeah. Because then I thought, is it going to disappear again? And then I found that Elon commented under
Us.
about our handles.
Because of our helpful people in America that were
pushing it.
help.
Yeah.
And then he brought us back on Guy Fawkes Day.
Was it Guy Fawkes Day?
Yes, that's a message right there.
Elon trolling. Yeah. See you later.
Yeah.
But then, so you got yours back. I got mine back and I didn't know the password. So I'm looking at it
That's
thinking,
right.
I can't even get in my account.
You couldn't get
I
in
can't
it.
tweet. Do you know how much I want to tweet? I wanted to do this tweet
And then
for
finally,
days.
that was the thing. So I thought in my head, because you were the one that let me know, I had no idea because I didn't look. You let me know, and I thought, I know what I'll do. Tommy's a right gobby bastard. He'll be on that thing like a fucking
You didn't tweet?
rabbit banging its
that's what I
mate,
would've
right?
done.
So you were on there going, and I thought, I'll let Tommy go do his fill, keep my quiet, and when you finished, I'll pick up. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I kept looking for you. What's going to
Yeah,
tweet?
I was waiting for you to shut up.
I can't shut up.
No, but I was glad. Like, I wanted, you had important things you wanted to say, and I loved it because I was like, I'll hold my silence while he goes off.
He
on
goes
one.
mad. He gets banned again.
Yeah, no, then I'll teach you about calmness.
Yeah. Well, Katie.
Yeah, good man.
I've had a brilliant time.
Oh,
listening to
I
this.
have too. And thank you for all you do. You know, your podcast viewers will know, but we all think you're smashing, and we think your family are smashing. And it's not that we're right behind you, because we are, but we're also by your side.
Well, I sort my son out.
That's all right. We'll always be here.
If you're watching this, if you're one of the people who subscribe to my content, I want to thank you because you give me the opportunity to have these fabulous conversations.
Exactly.
And hear the stories from people, because the media wish to portray me a certain way. They certainly have tried to portray Katie a certain way. It's important that people get to understand who people are. So.
Yeah, and also
Normal
just
people.
to remind ordinary people that
Bit
they're
mental.
the best of us.
We're a bit mental. But
Bit mental, bit normal.
yeah, that's it. Katie, thank you, Don. I've
Pleasure.
really enjoyed it. Share this, share our content, and just a thank you from me, man. We'll have more interesting conversations coming up with more interesting characters. I don't know if we'll beat Katie, but coming soon. Thank you. Cheers.
Carry on watching for more interesting guests. I'll talk to anyone. I'll debate anyone. I'll hear anyone's story. If you want to help me along that way, it's not free. I need your support. If you can support my family, that gives me my peace of mind. It means I can continue to do the work I do. You can do so at www.supporttommy.com. I appreciate every bit of support, as do my children. It gives me the ability to fly them out here to see me so I can stay in constant contact with them. I'm deplatformed and I'm censored, so I need you. I need you to share this content. Make sure you stay tuned for upcoming weekly guests, interesting guests, exciting guests. I'm Tommy Robinson, and this has been my podcast, Silence.